Any questions from our new faculty members?
So on day one.
On day one.
Dropping off my daughter.
Yep.
Where is she going to be expected to go if they get here before the bell?
Okay, we're going to have on day one, because this is going to be an abnormal situation even for us. On day one, we're going to have a lot of adults outside directing traffic, because we don't want kids wandering around lost either. So we're going to make sure that they have a schedule. We're going to make sure they understand where they're supposed to go, and that's going to happen probably all day for the first 2 or 3 days. You're not going to drop them off Monday morning and throw them off in the deep end of the pool and say swim.
Right.
There's going to be adults out on the sidewalks. There's going to be adults in all the hallways directing traffic, greeting children. Let me see your schedule. Let me show you where to go. We're going to help kids out. But for the first 2 or 3 days, it's a tough transition. I mean, it really is. And this year will probably be worse. So we're going to go overboard trying to help them acclimate. Probably more so than we always do, and we always do a lot. But yeah, we'll greet them at the door, out of the car, out of the bus, wherever they come out of. We'll be there to greet them. I will be, you will be, whoever's available. We're going to meet kids, because that's what we're here for.
Then they'll go to their advisory period, or where
if they eat breakfast, they'll go to breakfast first. If they don't eat breakfast with us, they will go straight to their advisory period first thing. In the past, we have put kids in the gym until school started, but we can't do that and maintain physical distance. So we're going to go straight to classrooms where there will be teachers in place to supervise. And that's different than our procedure in the past, but we're having to make procedural changes to deal with this pandemic.
You told us earlier to be prepared to not come back every day, as far as taking our stuff home. Should the kids be that way too?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get caught in a situation like we did last spring, where I got called over to district office at noon to say we're going to dismiss at 2 and we're going to be out for a couple of weeks, and a couple of weeks turned into 4 months. Every single day, I need teachers especially and students to take things home where they could do school from home. If I get that phone call at 6 o'clock at night that says, hey, Sylvan Hills Middle School is closed for the next 2 weeks, we still are going to have school. We're not going to have school right here, but we're still going to have school. I need you to take the CHROMEBOOKS home. I need you to take textbooks home. Whatever you have, whatever materials you need to have school as a teacher or a student, you need to take home with you every evening, because you may not get to come back the next morning. You know, that's the reality of the situation we're living in right now. I'd love to say we're going to get 3 days notice. Hey, we're going to close you in 3 days. But that's not the way this has worked. It's not the way it worked last spring. And I just want to be prepared. I want you to be prepared. As students, I want our students to understand the situation we find ourselves in. They're going to have to be more responsible than maybe we normally ask kids to be. And I know they're kids, but I think if we put our expectations there, I think they'll rise to the expectations.
So is, in the past, you've had teachers that required a binder for in-class, the hard copy stuff. Is that a thing in the past, or?
No, that's part of our AVID program, okay, where we teach organizational skills that are beneficial to you not only as a college student, but just in business. Being organized, being able to put your hands on documents that are important to you. So part of their supply list was a binder with dividers, and we expect them to use that. We don't expect it to last a year. I'd say probably look to clean it out every 4 to 5 weeks. Organize your things at home. Start anew. But yeah, that's part of what we teach with AVID is organizational skills. And if you're real computer savvy and you can organize that stuff into documents and files, that's great, but not everybody's wired that way. Some people like to put their hands on a physical piece of paper.
Where can we find that supply list?
It's online. It's on our website, and I also have hard copies in the office.
Good deal.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So each child gets a Chromebook, whether they're virtual or not, they'll all have those?
Yes, ma'am. We are a one-to-one school. Everybody gets a Chromebook.
Okay. And then as far as cleaning the facility, how is that being handled? Is there a steam cleaner going into the I know you said we have half days Wednesdays, and so that's a day where they'll kind of do a deep.
So you have a cleaning machine. It's called a Clorox 360 or 360 Clorox. I get the name mixed up, but anyway, it's a deep cleaning machine. Custodial service will run that through every Wednesday, and a plan right now is every Wednesday and every Friday.
And they're trying to get each classroom or the major area?
They will go from one end of the building to the other.
Okay.
And then we will, as teachers, we will clean up our space between every class.
Okay. So also the mesh backpacks tear easily, and we're expecting them to carry all of their things for every class. In the case that, you know, backpack tears, will there be counselors who have extra on hand in case something like that?
We have a limited number. It's not a bottomless supply, but there are some extras, and we're doing all we can to acquire more. Again, this is one of those things that in this time of COVID, we don't feel like it's good practice to use lockers because I can't physically distance kids getting in and out of lockers. And the district has made that a district decision. It's not just my decision at Sylvan Hills, but it's every secondary school. Nobody's using lockers.
Does that mean they're also not wanting anybody to allow, like, if our students are participating in sports and they have gym bags, to be able to leave that in a classroom, or they're expected to carry on?
What I would suggest, and what I've done in another place as a teacher, not as a principal, where we had advisory first thing, I let my advisory kids leave stuff in my room.
Okay.
And I don't think that's a problem, other than you got to put it somewhere where there's not a chance of theft. You've got closets in your room where you can possibly lock some things up. It puts some responsibility on the teacher. If you're not willing to accept that responsibility, then don't let kids leave things there. But your advisory kids, you're going to see every day, and you're going to get closer to them just as a matter of fact, because you see them every day. If you're a 6th grade advisor, you're going to see them every day for the next 3 years, because you keep that advisory from year to year. So next year when they're 7th graders, they're still your advisory kids. That's one idea to deal with bags, and we know gym bags are going to be an issue, lunch bags are going to be an issue, phones are going to be an issue, because we always have some problem with theft and phones, and the answer has always been the same: well, lock it in your locker. Well, now you don't have a locker to lock it in, so you're going to have to, again, be more responsible. You're going to have to take care of your phone as a 12-year-old 6th grade student here. And there's a life lesson that I hope you don't have to learn, but that you might. If you lay your phone on a desk and walk off and leave it there, it will not be there when you come back. And that's a lesson that, you know, I learned that lesson at 18 as a college freshman, when I left a $100 calculator sitting on a cafeteria table, and when I came back it was gone. That's a tough lesson to learn, but it's a lesson that sometimes I have to learn in order for it to sink in. My first day on the University of Arkansas campus, I lost a $100 calculator and about a $500 stack of books, because I laid them on a cafeteria table while I went to get a tray, and when I came back with my tray, my things were gone. And the world hasn't changed that much. I was in school a long time ago, but it hasn't changed that much. Any other questions? Those are great questions. Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir. During lunchtime, will my child have access to outdoor recess?
Yes. We will be going outside now, and I'm going to say with a but. We have some restrictions also temperature-wise. This time of year is just too hot, and we've got a guideline from the state that we go by, and when the heat index hits a certain level, we don't let the kids out. Balancing that with needing to get outside and get out of this mask is going to be tricky. Now, once the weather cools, we're going to get them outside as quickly as we can. We're going to encourage teachers to teach class outside if the weather's really nice. You know, figure out a way to take your kids out, let them get out of this mask, be 6 feet apart, physically distance themselves, and just relax and be kids. And we all need that. The mask is a nuisance. It's not unmanageable, but it is a nuisance. All right, thank you so much for your participation. Parents, if you have any questions that we didn't cover, if you'd email me at mhudgeons@pcsd.org, I'll do my best to get back to you and answer any of your questions. And other than that, we'll happily see your kids 2 weeks from today. Thank you so much.